If you are working on some business processes automation, sometimes you'll probably need to create some Microsoft Excel files programmatically. This is one of the most common tasks in business world, especially if you need to generate some Excel reports or export some data from database. In this video, we will take a look on how to generate Microsoft Excel spreadsheets programmatically with the C# language. One of the popular ways of doing this is to use Microsoft Office Interop Excel library, which calls Office API. Here is a page where you may find documentation about this library. So it's one of the most commonly used while performing these tasks. Writing code with it is quite simple, but it has some critical downsides. First of all, you need Microsoft Office to be installed on the machine which runs your code. And since this code interacts with Excel application, but doesn't work directly with files, performance of this code is quite slow. But there is another really powerful way of creating and editing Excel and other Office files programmatically. Before I show it to you, I would like to introduce some basic concepts of Microsoft Office file structure, for example, Excel spreadsheets. Okay, let's create some simple Excel spreadsheet and take a closer look at it. Let's call it test Excel. Now we can try to open this file with the software which we usually use to open some zip packages. So personally I use 7-zip file manager. We can even change the extension to .zip, but it's really not necessary. So now if we open it with the program which works with zip packages, you see that there are some different folders and files inside. And basically, let's just extract this archive to a different folder and take a look at the files. Extract to test Excel. So here is the folder with all files which we had in zip archive. You see that basically Microsoft Office document and Excel spreadsheet as well is just a collection of XML files which are packed into a zip package and saved with a specific extension, which is XLSX for Excel file. So if we want to manipulate these files, we just need to perform proper operations on underlying XML files. And Microsoft has developed a library called OpenXML SDK, which provides all needed tools to create and edit those XML files and pack them properly into a single zip package, which eventually will become our Excel file. So here is the web page of this OpenXML SDK library, and it can be easily found by searching on internet, but I will put the link to it additionally into the video description. Main benefits of using OpenXML SDK are that you do not need to install Microsoft Office for working with Office files, and you get much higher performance compared to Interop library which we mentioned before. So now I will show you how to create a simple Excel spreadsheet and write some data into it. Okay, so now let's open Visual Studio and create a console app.NET framework project. And we will try to write some code which will create a underlying XML files which eventually will become an Excel spreadsheet. Let's call our solution Excel generator and hit create. Okay, we have our empty solution started, and the first thing we need to do is to install that OpenXML SDK library which we mentioned before. We are gonna do it using NuGet package manager. So let's go to package manager of our solution, go to browse tab and make a search for OpenXML. OpenXML, I have it here. Here is the library we need. Document format OpenXML by Microsoft, 17 million downloads. So let's install it for our project. Accept all additional libraries which come with it. And it's basically done. We can close NuGet Package Manager and get back to our application. Okay, to create Excel file programmatically, we will need to perform some basic steps. We will need to use some classes which come with OpenSDK library, and these classes will represent different parts of XML files which we will create. I will guide you through some minimum necessary elements which we need to create and to have a valid spreadsheet at the end. So first we need to create a spreadsheet document object. Sheet document. Let's add using statement which will use our library. We should call static method create on spreadsheet document class and provide two arguments to it. First argument is the actual path to Excel file where we're gonna create it. So I have a folder here, drive C, Excel files generation, and basically we may use this folder as the destination for our generated Excel file. Let's copy it, paste it, and provide a file name. Let's call it generated Excel file, and provide an extension xlsx. And the second argument should be the spreadsheet document type. Spreadsheet document type workbook. So next we will need to add a workbook part element to our spreadsheet document. Workbook part equals spreadsheet document add workbook part, and we need to provide a workbook object to this workbook part. Now we need to append some sheets element to our workbook. So we will reference our workbook part variable, workbook property, and call the append child method and provide new sheets. Next, we will need to provide a worksheet part to our workbook part. And provide a new worksheet to our worksheet part. Sheet part worksheet equals new worksheet with a new sheet data. Okay, everything we do here may seem really strange for you at the first time, but once you will get familiar with the XML document structure which forms our Excel spreadsheet, it will all become clear. So now we are just constructing elements of XML document. We are constructing a different nodes and adding new attributes to them, and eventually they will create a valid Excel file for us. Now let's create a new sheet. It's the next step we will need to perform. So sheet equals new sheet, and we will need to provide 3 property values to it. First, its ID, and this should be the ID of worksheet part of our document. Workbook part get ID of part worksheet part. Next property is sheet ID, which we will set to 1, and the last one is name, which we will set to test sheet. And now we need to append this newly created sheet to our sheets node. So spreadsheet document workbook part workbook sheets append sheet. So now we just need to save this workbook, and this should give us the valid empty Excel document. Let's try to do this. Workbook part workbook save and spreadsheet document close. Okay, theoretically, if we run this code now, we will get an empty Excel document by this path. Let's try it. Let's open our folder, run our code, and go to our folder. And that's it. We've got an empty file. If we open it, we see that the name of the sheet is the one we provided while created our sheet object, and we have no data in the document, but we will try to add some data to this file now. Let's get back to Visual Studio. Okay, to write some data into the document, we will need first to create a row object equals new row, and we need to append this row to our sheet. To do this, we first need to create a sheet data object, sheet data worksheet park, worksheet get first child sheet data, and now we can append our row to our sheet data object. Now we have a row created on the sheet, and we will need to create a cell with some value and append it to that row. So let's just create a cell object equals new cell, and we will need to provide a following properties to this cell object. First, it's cell reference, which will be the reference which is usually used in Excel applications. So if we want to reference the very first cell in the spreadsheet document, we should put A1 here. Then cell value, this should be of a special type object, cell value, and as an argument we will provide the actual data we need to put here. So let's just put hello Excel in it, and the last one we will provide here is the cell data type. Data type equals cell values. We have a special enum here, cell values string. So we have a new cell, and now we just need to append this cell to our row. So that should be it. Now if we run this, we will get a new file by this path, and we should have the hello Excel value in the very first cell of the sheet. Let's try this. Let's run it and go to our folder. I think it's done. Let's try to open it. Ta-da! We have hello Excel here. So now we can try to look inside our Excel file and to compare these XML structures with the code we write. And we will see that eventually this SDK library is just a set of classes which allows us to manipulate XML structure pieces. So let's get rid of our previous file and unzip our newly created file to the folder. Go here, and the main information is here in Excel folder. So for example, let's open this workbook XML file in Visual Studio. Let's put it aside, close this, we don't need it, and give it a little formatting. So you see that here is the workbook element, Here is the sheets element which we appended to the workbook. Here is the sheet element inside sheets. This is here, sheets append sheet. In the worksheets folder, we have a sheet 1 XML file. Let's open it. Let's put it aside, put it here, format. Okay, here is the sheet data node. We have it here, new sheet data. Our row element, which is appended to sheet data. Our cell element, which has an attribute R, which is for cell reference, T, which is for data type, and V, which is for cell value. So you see that we're just constructing the XML document by using these classes, and that's it. And the key to create and manipulate those spreadsheet documents is to understand the underlying XML structure of the Excel file. Every part of the file is implemented as separate class in OpenXML library, and it provides full set of methods and properties which allow you to perform any action you need. And if you want to dive deeper in this topic, there are two crucial resources which will help you to work with OpenXML files. First of all, it's OpenXML documentation, which I showed you before, and I will put the link to the video description. And another one, there is a small application which is called OpenXML SDK Productivity Tool. Actually, this is the app which helps you to generate source code based on existing document content, compare documents, validate documents, and so on. It's just a tool which will make your life easier if you want to examine the structure of document, if you want to generate code, and so on. So I also advise you to use it if you want to generate files programmatically. Basically, this is the set of simple steps which you can wrap up with your own methods, and you will be able to generate Excel files very easily. So that's it for this tutorial. If you have any feedback about it, please put your comments below. I would be glad to read them, and thanks for watching.